Nuhu Badu, recently during the week at a meeting in Kaduna organized by the Ahmadu Bello Foundation, a think tank kind of meeting and gathering that had conversation about the citizen and all of those things. Eminent Nigerians, especially Northerners, were there, and he spoke at that forum and he has insisted that Nigeria's security has improved greatly and it's not what it used to be. He even gave statistics and some instances of what used to happen in Benue, in some of those states under the last administration, and how things are getting better right now. And you remember 2 weeks ago, he said almost the same thing, to say we have turned the corner security-wise. Nigerians can now travel. Many of those roads, highways are now safer than what it used to be before. But even this morning, on the Daily Trust newspaper, there is a resurgence of violence, especially banditry attacks, even in Katsina. Yeah, you see it up there. Bandits on renewed rampage in Katsina. And just 2 days ago, the NSA insists that things have improved. And Nigerians are asking, does he know some things that we don't know? Or because he sits at the table as the coordinator of security operations and information in Nigeria, maybe he's truly saying the truth? But then I'll allow you to take a look at part of what Malam Nuhu Badu said.
And we have done a lot of work in the north, and I will come to share with you. At the time when we took over, few things, but extremely, very worrying, disturbing, was ongoing. 4 intractable security challenges impacted our country. They are Boko Haram. Boko Haram is close to over 20 years now. And not long ago, even Lakura, because of the collapse of the Sahel countries. All of them are gone. It's only Nigeria as a Sahel country that is standing, but we feel it. Banditry, especially in the north, and kidnappings, northern Nigeria, northwest, north central, and indeed across. Separatists, I have told you about them, the IPOPs and so on. The Niger Delta and communal clashes across the country, both in and out. What the SGF said about harder farmer clashes. 3 of these categories of challenges, Islamist insurgency, I've told you about the Sahel, banditry and communal conflicts, which includes farmers and herders clashes, were predominant, particularly in northern Nigeria. So, I will share with you a bit of what was happening before June 1st, 2023. Simple things like the train attack. Just some few months before this government came in, bandits, they were in control of the North Central, Abuja. They will attack at any time. They attack Kuje prison. They attack our churches. They kill gas brigade soldiers who are guarding.
There you have just heard him, Malam Nuhu Badu, giving instances and statistics to prove what he is saying, or what he said at that forum. We have a security analyst with us, Mr. Deyemi Saka, to give us a sense of what he thinks about the reality on ground, and of course, the statement made by the NSA. Mr. Saka, good morning. It's good to have you again.
Morning. Yeah, good morning. It's been a while. Nice to be with you.
Yeah, thank you very much. You just had, and I'm sure not just this morning, you have been following the trajectory of what has been happening in Nigeria. And the NSA 2 weeks ago said the same thing. In fact, when they came in a few months after, they said Nigeria is getting better. 2 days ago, he maintained the same stance, and he has given statistics to prove what he's saying. And ordinarily, that is a man that should know. He received briefings, he coordinates the table as far as security is concerned in Nigeria. Do you agree with him?
Well, Malam Nuhu Badu might have been, or probably acknowledged to be, a smart, intelligent police officer. But if you take your time to, stay true and listen to what he was, blotting out, you probably get impatient with the stoltering and how elementary it was coming across, or it came across, and how intelligent it sounded. For sake of national conversation and setting the record straight, this government has done relatively well when it comes to national homeland security. And my assessment, which I expected Nubibado to, or the talking point, which I expected Nubibado to, to speak to or hammer on, was I think we had almost 30-something bandits or terrorist leaders wanted. And in the last 2 years, we've been able to neutralize like 22, 24. While in the last 8 years of Muhammadu Buhari, not even one was neutralized. It's sad that to advance or to push argument forward, a conversation that you've done well, you're comparing loss of lives. A life being lost is bad enough, so you can't be comparing that 20 died in the last administration, 5 died now. It's silly. But it still also brings to fore the incompetence of Malam Nuribadu, which I keep harping on at every given opportunity. He's a minister to the National Security Advisor. As such a firm, you're expecting to speak to the coins. Coins is counter-insurgency strategies of this administration and how it has worked differently and effectively away from what previous administration has been doing. My advice when I'm speaking to national security issues, especially when it borders on National Security Agency or National Security Advisor, I would advise Mr. President to really go for the NSA that is grounded from the intelligence corps, either serving or retired. When I'm reading about it, it's just a politician, but about 2031, and that's just the basic truth. It might not want to agree. People might say, because you see more in photo ops than doing the right job. There were killings in Benue and Plateau. What it was bothered about was having a conference talking about something that's even not related to security. You are not issuing security alert warnings. People are being kidnapped every day. Because I tell people, when you're fighting insurgency or insecurity, especially terrorism and what have you, for all-grown terrorism, it is not a secret society thing. The society must be sensitized. We must know what different colors stands for in the alert level, awareness level. You should give us hotlines to call. You should deploy advocacy and education and sensitization on mass media. Those are things we need. Not start just come out and you're reading figures or you're giving us a boring speech on what you've done or what you think you've done. And that means you've done, you expect people to clap for you. We are not psychophants.
All right.
I think it needs to either go for a short course or an extensive course on national security or counterterrorism for him to be fitting for the office is occupying.
All right, Mr. Saka. The statement from Malam Nuhu Ribadu, the National Security Advisor, reiterating the fact that Nigeria is safer now, is coming just, days after what happened in Zamfara. I mean, over the weekend, last week, about 38 people were killed, were slaughtered in Zamfara state. We understand they were kidnapped, and after a sum of 50 million naira was paid as ransom, they still were kidnapped. And the British High Commission reacted to that, I'll just quickly take just a part of that statement. Reacting to the killing in Abuja, British Deputy High Commissioner Ms. Gail Lever, who lamented that only 18 of the hostages were released after the ransom payment, said, "Very frankly, I want to express my condolences to the people of Zamfara State over that horrible kidnap, where even when ransom was paid, only a few people were released and others murdered. It's an unspeakable crime that has impact on society, on communities, on families. It damages people's mental health and physical well-being, without economic progress and all other things that we know well, and we must bring an end to this." Right? That's coming from the British Deputy High Commissioner, reacting to that in Abuja. Mr. Saka, here's the reality. Just a few days ago, people were kidnapped in Zamfara. 38 of them were slaughtered, murdered in cold blood. And the NSA is not saying anything about it. The federal government, they are not coming out with any statements concerning that. Now we have the UK reacting to it. What exactly do you think is going on here? You are a security expert. Why do you think our security agencies are shying away from the reality? And now we have the NSA reiterating the fact that Nigeria is safer than before.
You see, I've spoken to the incompetence of the NSA. Now, let me speak to the hypocrisy of the British High Commissioner or Deputy High Commissioner, and also use this opportunity to take a jab at the United States of America. That we are in this state of mess is probably because of their hypocrisy, insensitivity, and wickedness. And I'll tell you why. I'm not born saying because they didn't support former President Goodluck Jonathan, they helped installing President Buhari. No. My argument and anger is till tomorrow, the British government and the American government know what we need to end this war. We need Apache, the third generation and the fourth generation. Even if you're not going to sell us the fourth generation, we need the third generation of Apaches to win this war. America is frustrating us because America owns Apache buying it. And every other country that has Apache, that are either decommissioning that we could get for training or recon and everything, we still need to go to America to get clearance. And America will give you the silly thing like, you should not use it on, you should not use it within the communal blah, some silly conditions that it's obvious that it doesn't, you can't use it to end this war on insurgency. So please, they should just, please keep quiet. And I'll tell you why. And for nobody not speaking to it, it shows you how insensitive and how clueless he is about his government. For such killings to be happening in Katsina and Zamfara, you should know that by extension, Kebbi, Sokoto, Kano, and coming down to Niger is not safe. And once it gets to Niger, you probably will be looking at Kwara. Once it gets to Kwara, you should be looking at Kogi. Once it gets to Kogi, you should be looking at Ekiti. Once it gets to Ekiti, you should be looking at Osun and Ondo. And looking at Osun, you should probably be looking at Ogun. You should be looking at Oyo. If you start looking at Oyo, you should be looking at Ogun. If you look at Ogun, you're looking at Lagos. So what am I trying to say? The country is not safe when there is such event, occurrence, happenstance in another state, because it shares borders with some other states. And if you look at all these events or happenings, they happen close to border towns and border communities. Oftentimes you see it happening in the heart of the city or the state. So it shows that you're probably even dealing with, at the point you'll be dealing with, intra-transborder and international transborder banditry and criminality, and that is it. You're the NSA. A lot of intel will tell that this guy coming from Niger, basically Niger, like you rightly said, the breakdown of other countries in the Sahel region, and if you're talking about Niger, you're probably thinking of Libya, Mali, and what have you. Even if you want to come to the littoral state, like littoral countries, when I mean littoral state, like has water and everything, you take it Togo and Benin Republic having their fair share of insecurity and terrorism. Which just tells you that even the Lagos and the southern belt of Nigeria is not safe. So I look at the efforts of the government when it comes to defense. I'm only trying to keep the armed forces and everything. But the agencies saddled with public safety is under one man that keeps exhibiting knowledge gap on his functions as the NSA. And that's the truth. You see our military, you see our defense ministries, and service chiefs and what have you, attending one expo or conferences, trying to seek collaboration. We define our foreign policies on where should we buy, what should we buy, which is their mandate. You cannot expect it. It's an aberration that we have boots on ground as soldiers manning our states, and when we are not. And if you want soldiers to provide you internal security, you should declare martial law.
All right. So, Mr. Saka, are you saying this? What we are seeing from the NSA right now is as a result of a knowledge gap and not really incompetence, or what exactly should you call it?
Knowledge gap is just being mild. It's just gross incompetence.
So you feel we need someone
incompetence that is exemplified, amplified with his miscommunications, mistalk, insensitivity, and lack of actions and awareness.
Oh, interesting. Now you made mention of hypocrisy, using the words of some of these Western nations. And you talked about Apache, helicopters, and all of those high-grade military tech equipment and vehicles. But some will say, we had some. I remember we've taken the delivery of some Apache helicopters and some high-grade military equipment. How about our use of
the Apache helicopter we took delivery of came with, I think it was 3 or there, but I can't remember. Came with some stringent conditions that we cannot even deploy. And you ask yourself, you are fighting in an urban warfare rather, which you probably will need more of attack helicopters. Is it the T-129 from Turkey? Is it Augusta? Is it Apache? Is it Hind from Russia? You have all these things that you could deploy. But you now find out that Nigeria, we are deploying private jets. No, we are deploying a fighter jet, sorry. Please, why won't you be having collateral damages?
So you are saying
how can a fighter jet give your ground troops air cover or close air support?
Now, Mr. Saka, we have seen
either to advance or to withdraw.
Yeah, if I may, we have seen instances of accidental discharge of bombs on civilian communities and gatherings because they thought they were bandits and all of those things. The Apache and some of these high-tech equipment, are they supposed to be precision equipment?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Apache is an helicopter, an attack helicopter. You could do a lot of things. It could be gun-mounted and what have you. Why attack helicopters would have avoided such a thing, because it could fly so low. It could as high as above the roof of a building. It could fly as low as flying on the streets. Low that you probably just want to take just a few things to just not a few meters away from the ground. But a fighter jet is high up there. It's working with coordinates.
Right.
It's been given an intel that this is a location which anything could have happened. Intel could have been compromised. But they go bomb this location and they just go down. Unfortunately, civilians are there.
Mr. Saka, sorry to cut in. Yeah. Don't you think the reason for the fighter jets is just to protect against anti-aircraft artillery? Okay, because when you use those Apaches, of course, they are prone to attacks from the terrorists as well. So the fighter jet might actually be safer because of their altitude.
The fighter jet is not safer because it's even costlier to deploy a fighter jet than an attack helicopter.
Absolutely.
So what are you saying? So
the point is the helicopters, those terrorists, don't they have anti-aircraft weapons? That's my point.
Let me say this, and I will say except the only thing I probably know they probably were bearing in what I've seen with those bandits in their short videos are Brownings, 50 calibers, and RPGs and what have you. That it's also could just the trajectory is just to a certain height, but an Apache can even stay some 100 meters away and still engage. It doesn't necessarily have to come that close, but it can come even lower. I'm just saying it's even more precise than an attack helicopter. So even the instances of what have you might not even happen. We've seen instances where soldiers are left at the mercy of bandits because there is no closer support for them.
All right. Now, there is something that has gotten many Nigerians worried, and I think we talked about it earlier before you came on. Daniel, my colleague, raised the point that this narrative being, peddled over and over, being insisted on by Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, the NSA for Nigeria, NSA to the president rather, by saying Nigeria security has improved, people can get. By the way, let me just reel out some of the things that I said for the benefit of people listening.
Okay, for the audience, not because
yeah, for the audience.
I've read it and I'm not interested in it.
For the audience, that he said in the Northwest that many bandit leaders have been neutralized and peace is gradually returning. He says so far 11,259 hostages have been rescued in operations across the Northwest as of May. He cited data from previous years that 1,192 people were killed and 3,348 kidnapped in Kaduna State alone under the last administration, while over 5,000 were lost in Benue State during the same period. And he has credited the current gains, whatever that is, to improved collaboration among security agencies and clear directive from the presidency on a unified strategy. So, on one hand, many persons will say, are you justifying whatever happened under Buhari to say, oh, we have not gotten there, that means we are doing well, or there's a real improvement? Now, the dilemma or the disturbing thing for many people, what I was trying to say is this position of Nuhu Ribadu, will you say it's because of politics or whatever is going on, or there is a bigger problem if Nuhu Ribadu really believes that this is the true state of things, that things have improved? I don't know if you get my question. If he believes in what he's saying, then are we not in a serious problem?
I get your position. I get your line of. I caught your line of thought.
Yes.
Because if the person is being untruthful to himself, believing truly things has improved,
exactly,
and the reality on ground, the stark reality on ground is so divergent from his claims, we're in trouble.
Exactly.
So I get what you're saying. You see, it's just it speaks to the incompetence of been hammering on, because it's just about miscommunications. You probably would not tell, you shouldn't open your mouth and say Nigeria is safer as we speak. You just have said the security situation is improving. It's a work in progress. We've made some progress. Yes, it might not be visible to you all as we speak, but there are huge achievements that, as if sustained and as we gain about it at this pace, with the commitment and everything, few months or don't even be specific. Well, some months away from now, some months can be 2 months, can be 10 months, can be 11 months. Well, the improvement of our, the evident signs of the improved situation will be obvious to all Nigerians. We are aware of the security challenges. We are aware of the escalation in attacks and everything. It's a response. It's a desperate response to make Nigeria believe or make Nigerians lose faith in the government and in the country. But the armed forces and the defense community are working around the clock to make sure that a few months away from now, Nigerians truly feel that sense of safety, security, across the country.
Right.
That's more intelligent and better. And this is saying this to you on the spot. It's not scripted. So a woman that has few days or a week to prepare a speech will go there and now be sounding so insensitive.
All right. Mr. Saka, in your opinion, as a security expert, what critical changes do you think we need in our nation's security architecture just to bring to an end, or better still, reduce these incessant killings? We have killings in Zamfara, Katsina, Borno, of course, Plateau, Benue. So what exactly do you think we need to do as far as our nation's security architecture is concerned?
If you don't know the problem, you won't know the solution. If you look at the speech and everything, it was both to say Boko Haram, or whatever.
Yeah.
But was silent about mentioning Fulani headsmen, killer Fulani headsmen. So it shows it's like, so if you don't rightly categorize security threats, how do you come up with appropriate security or responses to those threats? So we need to just address these issues head on. We need to bury our biases and sentiments and tribal religious affiliation and take it head on. And let us say this. Pre-2015, the mercenaries contracted by former President Goodluck Jonathan had done a good job. The whole of Borno State has been we're off the grip of Boko Haram. Ego, misplaced, sense of tribal nationalism and ethnic nationalism by incompetent, Muhammadu Buhari brought us to this point. Yeah, he's dead. God bless his soul. He contributed, he did his bit to national development or national history or, journey. But let us say it, we are in this mess because of APC. And we should be thankful, or we should be hopeful that the APC too will help us, clear this mess. And that's why they need better engagement, they need better, interaction, they need better communication with the public, not the arrogant, sycophantic, if I can use that word, something like that, from approach by Madam Louis Badu.
So you're saying clearly that it seems as if he doesn't even recognize the problem. Is that the point? He not understanding the problem.
Yeah, it doesn't even understand. It doesn't even understand the scope of his duty. No, I won't say the problem. He sees it. He knows it. Because even as a retard, if you're in that office, by the time the barrage of or the sources or the volume of information and intel you have an idea of what is going on. It's just how he's managing the information, how he's managing the intel, and how he's engaging the public with the intel. And even his principle is key. Because sometimes the president cannot overlap, or jump over him and take some decisions. He needs to, seek counsel and ask for briefings. There's something called President Daily Intelligence Briefing. How often does he get out to his commander-in-chief? There is something called NIE, National Intelligence Estimate, that defines our responses to security threat, domestic, and the impact of foreign policies. The special national intelligence estimate. There are things like that we could come up. Sorry, please, how many of it does he have in his principle on a daily basis?
That's a $1 million question.
All right. Absolutely. Now, we might have to let you go. Recognize you have some flu and all of those things. But before that, now, this issue that we are in right now, still talking about, because the position of Nuhu Ribadu, the reason why we keep talking about it is, since he came in, he has been maintaining that things are working. And, you mentioned that the other time, if one is seriously engaged in self-deceit, then especially at that very sensitive desk office that he is occupying, then it doesn't all go well for any country. But then possibly that's his truth. That is what he's seeing. He said there are improvements in the southeastern part of Nigeria as well. The agitations about the unknown government, all of those things have died down because things are improving. Now, the last place that he talked about this was in Kaduna. That's Ahmadu Bello Foundation organized a meeting which has eminent northern leaders. And there are agitations politically from some northern leaders saying that that region has been marginalized and all of those things. Do you think maybe it was important for Nuhu Ribadu, to reiterate that things are improving, especially the insecurity ravaged northern part of the country? That place, that occasion, that location, the group of people that were there, maybe that's why he maintained that position. Do you think that counts? That needs to let them know that the country is with them.
Until as a nation, we tell ourselves that no region has the power to determine the political fate of this country, then the better for us. The North, when I mean the North, I'm not saying this as a region, not using those that were truthful or upright. Was criminally silent in the 8 years of monumental disaster of former President Muhammadu Buhari. And in just 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu are shouting and are losing their voices, or the North is losing its voice. Please, where were they when a real line with financial burden because of the loan we obtained was deployed to construct a road from Kano to Maradi in Niger Republic? Not even Maradi in Katsina or Zamfara. It's a Niger Republic that has a lower or a smaller volume of trade, transborder trade, compared to Lagos, Benin Republic, Togo, semi-border, what have you, that a real line would have, been effective and efficient. Where were they when they were busy constructing helipads and this and that in Daura, in this place or that place? Where was the North, or where were the northern leaders when the University of Transport was being sited in Daura? Where were they when Nigerian Army University was being sited in Borno, in the midst of hostility? Where were they when the Nigerian Army Garment Factory was now being sited again in Kaduna? Please. Where were they? Were they not in this country when Adamawa State had almost 80 entrants into the DSS, while the whole Southeast region had 4? Where were they?
Oh, you're talking about the recruitment, right?
Yes, the DSS recruitment that the what's it called? Not Federal Character Commission promised to investigate, and where were they when Borno State had for what's it called, other rank recruitment? They had over 190 just Borno State alone, which was against the federal character. So what was the same?
All right. All right, Mr. Saka. I've had the privilege of interviewing several security experts on this issue. And one thing I keep getting from them is that we have the manpower, that our military men are actually able, that they are capable to take on these terrorists and wipe them out. That most times their hands are tied. That sometimes it might actually be an issue of legislation. That most times they can't just go out there and do their job unless they get the orders. Do you also believe in that line of thought, that we have all it takes? That sometimes it's just our leaders playing politics with security issues in the nation?
When they say we have the manpower, I disagree. Because the combined strength of our armed forces at some point was 300,000. I think now it's around 450 to 500,000, which is still low for a country that's serious about protecting its sovereign integrity and homeland public safety. But if you tell us that we have capable men, yes, I believe. I tell people, it's not today. I've been shouting this since 2013. There are collaborators within the system that has to be fished out. If we don't fish them out, we are just bloody wasting our time. And if that is done, then we can now move to the next stage. I tell you, if you want boots on ground, you have to declare martial law. That is when nobody will come up and start accusing the army or the military of human rights abuses and whatnot, because the constitution and the rights of the people in the theater of operations and what have you have been suspended. So that answers it.
All right. It's an ongoing conversation, and we hope we get it right someday. Trusting in this nation, because this is our nation, this is your nation, and it must work. We must stay true to power, and of course support the military in whatever they are doing, play our part as citizens, because in as much we have rights to live, right to own properties, a right to be catered for, we all have obligations as well. A security analyst and expert, Deyemi Saka, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for bearing with the sound background distractions. I'm in one remote location. But
thank you very much. Yeah. The issue of security is the one that we cannot politicize. Nigerians will say that is what got us here. Actually, if we have been definite, if we have been categorical, brutal, if we need to be, without minding whose ox is God, maybe we might not be here, might be far ahead.
Absolutely. And like he said, just similar to what Dr. Kachononju usually says, that the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, I mean, he did a lot of damage when it comes to the security architecture. He got us to this point. That's what Mr. Deyemi Saka is still saying again now, that the failures of his administration worsened the security situation in Nigeria. And we have to say it as it is. Yes, he's dead, may so rest in peace, but it is what it is. We are not in a good position. Yeah. And the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuribadu, should just, live up to expectation and just say the right things. I mean, you shouldn't try to play politics. You don't try to sound good. You are not a publicity secretary. For God's sake, Malam Nuribadu is not a party publicity secretary. He's a national security advisor.
Yeah.
So it's not his job to try to make the government look good. No, he should do the right thing.
He should do the right thing. And that's why we are here to do these everyday, frank, deep, sometimes maybe uncomfortable conversations that need to be had. Thank you for joining us. Femi Ojo is my name. I'm a Nigerian, a proud one, and it is my will and wish that this nation will prosper. Supporting it from this end, but then it's not about will or about wish. It's about doing the right thing. I'll see you tomorrow. God willing.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure having you join us again today, this last day of July 2025. Join us again tomorrow for a fresh edition of Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Emeka Daniel is my name. Don't forget, we're streaming on YouTube. We also started streaming on Facebook. Yeah. So you can always join us either on YouTube or on Facebook so that you don't miss any part of this program. Yeah, at Western Spring Television. Thank you so much once again. Do have a wonderful day. Good morning.